WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Oh, yeah, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, your second to last podcast of the year, Lost in the Midcard. Thanks to everybody joining us tonight. We are fresh off of Ring of Honor Final Battle from the Hammerstein Ballroom, and we are looking ahead to AEW World's End, the final pay-per-view of 2024. We will be breaking down the ROH pay-per-view and predicting the card for AEW tonight, and as well as anything else you want to talk about as we set the table for Monday Night Raw, which is also about ready to change in 2 weeks from tonight. The big, I don't know where they're heading, Matt. I've never heard of where they were heading. Where's Raw going from the USA Network? Where? Tubi. Oh, okay.
Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was Justin TV, but I guess I got my sources were wrong. I thought it was Justin TV.
Disney Plus.
Honor Club.
Paramount Plus.
If you have not done so already, make sure you have subscribed to WrestleZone on the YouTube, all one word. Hit that thumbs up on our videos to get it out to as many people as possible. Join the chat live with us every Monday, 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central. Hit the bell icon so you know when we go live, WrestleZone. I think basically we're the only show that really goes live now on WrestleZone nowadays. So I guess you just know every Monday, unless we say otherwise on Twitter, we will be here for you.
We get plenty of interviews here on WrestleZone, but like none of them are live.
Yeah, they're recorded.
So we record all of the interviews and then put them on, on the channel later on.
You hit the bell icon, you know when that drops right away. So it always helps to hit the bell icon and give us the old thumbs up. And thanks to everybody in the chat, Mr. Mark Cho, Mr. Ozzy, how about him, Cowboys, and MK saying it's going to be on Pluto TV. Mark Cho says Discovery Plus. It's going to be a freebie, right? As Amazon announced that they were going to end freebie, it's going to be on that. Actually, they're not really ending freebie.
Well, freebie saved. Raw's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
It saves the entire streaming platform.
Freebie actually is not going away. It's just being absorbed into Amazon Prime.
I've literally never even heard of it until right now. So
yeah,
no wonder it's in trouble.
For that type of live TV stuff, I use Roku channel. It's about the most stable. I hate Pluto because a lot of times it'll skip and rewind itself back. It's a pain in the ass.
I actually had that happen on a YouTube video today. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, that happens. I don't know if it's been fixed or not, but I know Roku's a lot more stable. I watch the Buzzer Game Show Network there and the Price is Right channel from the 80s and things like that. And Pluto always seems to screw up. So I think it's a little more stable on there. Right down there is our QR code. We are now, thanks to StreamYard jacking up the price, we have decided to pay for our own way to stream to you every Monday through Restream, which basically has been a lot better for us. I think it's been a better platform. So if you want to help out the podcast, there's the QR code right there. Any little bit helps for our monthly costs there. And so we can bring you the boom, right? Bring the boom.
The double chocolate chunk cookie.
They made their return this week.
I don't know why they didn't advertise. If you have those guys on the show, you should have been advertising that they were going to be there.
Yeah.
To me, that just seemed like a major misstep by AEW not to advertise that they were going to be on the show multiple times that night.
When was Collision taped? The next night?
Collision was live. Saturday night. Yeah.
Oh.
Like the only thing they taped this weekend was Dynamite on Sunday afternoon. Well, and Rampage, of course. The last Rampage for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Everybody's still guessing where Raw's going. We got Plex, Fubo. I don't know. Raw's gonna go somewhere. I just don't know where.
Maybe ESPN Plus.
It'd help if the WWE would tell us.
They're just not that good at marketing, man.
No. I mean,
It's
it would
unfortunate.
it would
Like
just help.
imagine how big that company would be if they could just market correctly.
I know. If they could just tell us where the hell to watch Raw on January 6th, that'd be very helpful. But anyway, let's get on to our main topic. This past Saturday, or Friday, sorry. Got my days mixed up. Friday, December 20th, from the Hammerstein Ballroom or the Manhattan Center, whatever you want to call it, New York City. Final Battle happened. And damn good show, we got to say. The card was pretty good from top to bottom. I did not catch the pre-show, but I did catch the main show. I caught the end of the pre-show, and it looks like are they turning Gates of Agony face?
They did a double turn at the end of 0. It's the only thing I saw because I was like, I know this pay-per-view is going to be 4 hours. I'm not tuning into 0 hour. And I turned on like 2 minutes before the thing started to see the double turn where they turned Gates of Agony babyface and they turned Lee Johnson and EJ Nduka heel. And I'm like, okay, go nuts for no fucking reason, TK. Have fun with that, but whatever.
And I'm sure Harley Cameron got a nice ovation because she's been kicking ass lately. I love the 12 days of Shop AEW commercial. That's pretty good.
It's very
Harley Cameron is just killing it lately, and I'm seeing a lot of people giving her props and from around the wrestling world and the social media world. So it's pretty cool.
It's funny cool because like I remember there's a lot of people online like a year ago like, why is she on my TV? Get rid of her. She doesn't belong here. Blah blah blah. Now she's like the online internet darling. It's so amusing to see, opinions change and evolve like that over the course of a year.
I don't think she really got to be herself in that QT Marshall group much. I don't know.
Well, I think anything involved with QT Marshall gets an unfair brush painted over it immediately. So yeah. It's kind of you're already fighting an uphill battle at that point, and I don't really think that's fair to Marshall or anybody he's associated with. But I mean that's how it kind of felt during like the QTV era. So
MK says pour one out for Rampage. Are we losing Rampage, you think? Is it going bye-bye first of the year?
Well, they said it is the last Rampage, as Tony Khan said, for the foreseeable future. So I don't expect Rampage back because everything right now points to them trying to secure that deal for AEW Shockwave. And if you get Shockwave, why the hell do you need Rampage? You don't need 4 shows. So
you barely need 3.
Yeah. Actually, I think decreasing down to 2 shows is actually going to benefit AEW greatly.
Yeah, it will.
Because I think, sometimes it's a less is more approach. And the oversaturation of a product with too much weekly content can contribute to, diminishing interest. I think the loss of Rampage will be addition by subtraction. And don't get me wrong, Rampage for the most part has been very good this year. But it makes sense to move on from it. And heck, AEW got a much larger TV deal to lose an hour of programming. Yep. And that's a big win as far as I'm concerned. You get more money to produce less content. That's a big win.
Frantic World's wondering what's going on with Raw. We're trying to figure out where Raw is going on January 6th because WWE is not telling us. So we're trying to figure out where it's going. MK thinks $7 Productions.
You know what? If The Rock can figure out a stream, maybe that Chick-fil-A streaming service that they've launched, that I can't remember what it's called, but that Chick-fil-A streaming service, maybe that's where Raw's going.
Maybe.
Every time you watch Raw, if you watch for the whole 3 hours, they give you a QR code at the end for a free Chick-fil-A sandwich on Tuesdays.
Hey, speaking of which, This QR code, it may get you a free chicken sandwich. I don't know, but you can scan it and donate to Lost in the Midcard. Yeah, we'll send you a chicken sandwich in the mail if you.
I would not recommend eating that.
Stephen Chambers says, "What's up, Jeremy? Matt? Merry Christmas, you filthy animals! Merry Christmas, Stephen. Thanks for joining us as always." MK says we forget that QTV ever existed. Yes, most people do. So, bring Dark back to YouTube. I don't.
No.
That's called Ring of Honor.
No.
That's called
Do
Ring of Honor.
not bring Dark back ever.
Dark is called Ring of Honor. That's what that is right now. Netflix. I don't think it'll be Netflix, Ozzy. I don't think Raw's going to Netflix on January 6th. So, I don't think Netflix is really on the table.
That would just be too convenient for all parties involved.
Yeah. It's going where SmackDown is in the UK on January 3rd, free on YouTube. Maybe. I don't know. We kick things off with Atlantis Jr. against Mansoor, and we got a very unique code of honor where they touched tips instead of shook hands. And this opening match brought a surprising return of none other than Danhausen, and what a damn pop he got for punching Mason Madden in the dick. That was a tremendous pop for Danhausen. Good to see him back. Can Tony Khan figure out what to do with him finally, Matt?
Look, I won't lie. When this was announced Thursday night as being on the main show, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Why is this match on the main show? This doesn't make a damn lick of sense to me.
Yeah.
It was all for the Danhausen return. And I was 1010% okay with that. Thank God Danhausen is back. Long overdue. I think he got the biggest pop of the entire night.
Might have.
And he got the double pop.
Jared
got
up there.
The initial pop when he came out because everybody knew who he was. And then when he unmasked himself to show who he was, who everybody already knew he was, he got an even bigger pop.
He did the sting.
Yeah, he did the sting. It was tremendous. I'm so happy he's back. I think he can greatly help that Ring of Honor brand that desperately needs entertaining star power on Thursday nights. So, God bless Danhausen.
Is he a former TV champ?
I don't think he. No, I don't. I think he had. I think he had a shot at it, but I don't think he ever won it. He can win it now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. That recently, of course, Shane's hands. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, looking at Ring of Honor, no, he just had Best New Star in 2020. That was all he earned in Ring of Honor. Atlantis Jr. getting the win thanks to Danhausen. Next up, a singles match, short one there between Katsuyori Shibata and Tommy Billington making his Ring of Honor debut. Shibata getting the win there after about a 10-minute match. Next up, QT Marshall, flanked with Aaron Solo and Carolyn Fazio. And he takes on the return of Black Machismo. Oh, yeah. I loved Karen Jarrett. Her makeup and eyelashes were done perfect to look like Sensational Sherry. I thought that was pretty damn good. And another big pop came out when Solo put his hands on Karen, and another big pop of the night, Jeff Jarrett comes out and drops Solo with his guitar. Jay Lethal wins the match against QT Marshall. No surprise. I still think Jay Lethal is possibly going to be one of the two guys that can dethrone Chris Jericho, the other being Samoa Joe. But what were your thoughts on the return of Black Machismo, Matt?
Honestly, I thought the match was a lot of fun. I liked what they did with it. My only complaint is I thought it was a little too long. To me, after the Jarrett spot and Lethal hit Hail to the Cane, that should have been it. I think they went on like an additional 5 minutes after that, and I'm just like, there wasn't a need. For that at that point, they should have just ended it at that point.
It only went 12 and a half minutes, but I think QT did kick out one of the Hail to the Kings. if I remember right.
Yeah, the one after the guitar shot, and that's in my opinion, that's when the match should have ended. It didn't need to be. Look, you say it was 12 minutes, but it felt like 18. let me put it that way. I felt it was a little longer than it needed to be.
Oh man. And next up, women's television title, Red Velvet Layla Hirsch also went about 12 minutes, Red Velvet retaining there. Matt called it pure wrestling rules match, not the current pure rules, but the old school pure rules, no judges, as Lee Moriarty had an open challenge that was answered by none other than Nigel McGuinness, which was fucking awesome. This, in my opinion, was my match of the night. I know Matt has a different opinion of match of the night, but I think they're both were definitely at the top of the card for great performances.
I'm not gonna debate you.
Yeah.
On that, to me, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
Between my favorite and your favorite, because my second favorite is your first, and your second favorite is my first. So
1A and 1B basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's to flip a coin, and I'm sure anybody in the chat would be able to answer what my favorite match of the night was. So
yeah, future booking. Big Bill beats Jericho. I've been saying it forever. Big Bill does Jericho better than Jericho does Jericho. So I'm surprised.
I mean, look, if they want to do Big Bill and Ring of Honor, I don't hate that idea at all. But my hope is if Ring of Honor gets an actual weekly television product in 2025, that whoever beats Jericho for this title is staying in Ring of Honor. Like, I really want the Ring of Honor to stay in Ring of Honor and the AEW to stay in AEW. So if let's say Big Bill does beat Jericho, Big Bill would then be Ring of Honor. I don't need to see him on AEW every week. Like, I don't want a brand split between Dynamite and Collision, but I would like a brand split between Ring of Honor and in AEW. I really, really would.
MK nailed it.
That is bullshit lie, MK.
Matt loves the learning tree.
I am very insulted.
Hey guys!
I'm not Righteous Reg. I don't love the learning tree. This is not factual in any way, shape, or form. This was one of my least favorite matches of the show, and I'll explain why when we get to it.
He nailed it. Another good match on the card. Great tag team, which I would not hate if this tag team carries over into AEW someday. But the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, has been very enjoyable to watch. They took on and defeated the Righteous in a no surprise bloody matchup because it was a double Texas bull rope match. Very fun, good match. Great. Of course, Dustin and Sammy dressing up like Dusty in the old War Games or the Street Fight get up that Dusty would always kind of dress up in. I thought that was very cool. Sammy wearing the same face paint as Dustin as well. Matt, I thought this was a lot of fun. Probably my third favorite match of the night.
Fun match, no complaints. I'm just happy the Righteous didn't win.
Yeah, I know you love them as much as the learning tree.
I actually like the learning tree more than I like the Righteous. So that tells you all you need to know. But that tells you all you need to know about my feelings on the Righteous.
Marcho, the boring tree. Oh, that right. My 1B match of the night, Matt's 1A match of the night, survival of the fittest, 6 men, elimination style for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Your champion, Brian Cage, against Willie Mack, Commander, Mark Davis, AR Fox, and Blake Christian. This was a very good match from start to finish, went about 25 minutes, almost went longer than the main event with Athena and Billy Starks. But this was a very lengthy, great match. And I think when the world was shocked when Mark Davis pinned Brian Cage to confirm there's going to be a new champion. And then I thought it went down to the perfect final two between Commander and Blake Christian. Those two definitely no strangers to each other from the GCW days, so they know how to work well together. So I thought it was a tremendous finale to a very great match. And as Matt said, if Cage doesn't retain, Commander for his work in the Continental Classic should be rewarded for a television championship, and that's exactly what they did. Your new Ring of Honor television championship is Commander. What were your thoughts on that?
I called Nigel McGuinness last Monday night. I called Commander last Monday night. Y'all should be watching Lost in the Midcard. As I'm
All right.
I'm dropping bombs on here before you see it on TV. So it's good times.
It was
deserve it. Stephen Chambers, I agree. He's been a standout in the Continental Classic. He's someone when they initially added him in, I'm like, why Commander? And Commander just went in there and just banger after banger after banger. All of his matches in the Continental Classic have been freaking tremendous. And I think it's his final one this Wednesday on Dynamite's going to be very fun.
Yeah.
So,
Ring of Honor World Championship is next. Matt Cardona coming out, and Chris Jericho, as Tony Khan paid for some Frank Sinatra, coming out to New York by
what
Sinatra.
A waste of money.
Well, they got to play it twice because Cardona won, because Jericho won, thanks to the Learning Trees shenanigans. Basically, it was a 3-on-1 handicap match. I would have loved to seen Cardona win and confirm that he's signed to AEW. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Jericho retains. Basically, it was a 3-on-1 handicap match, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the report coming out of Fightful Select over the weekend is that Cardona suffered some sort of ankle injury during the match. Had to be helped to the back afterwards and was sitting on crutches after the match. Cardona's hoping and it's not serious, and I hope it's not serious for him because that's terrible timing.
Yeah.
The crowd killed this match for me. But the crowd killed it because they knew what I already knew. They knew there was no way Jericho was losing this match.
Yeah.
And
that's
they were
especially going second to last.
Yeah, and they were just waiting for the finish for Jericho won so they could boom. Like there were certain spots of the match that should have generated a big response from the crowd, and they just sat on their hands and did nothing. And I'm watching this, I'm like, yeah, they know exactly what I know. They know Jericho's not losing, so that they're not biting on the near falls or the big moments or anything because they already know how this is going to end. And I think it was set up to fail, unfortunately. I really hope Cardona gets signed to AEW and he has a big 2025, but this didn't do him any favors, unfortunately, because it was booked for him to lose. Nobody thought he was going to win. I wanted him to win, obviously, but nobody thought he was going to win. No. And that ended up just kind of killing things for the crowd, and it just took the atmosphere out of the match that it should have had.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, hell, I would not hate if he went to WWE, even if they would have him and present him as who he's been the past few years. Much like with Cody Rhodes, let him keep all his shit.
My thing is, I think there's way too many things Cardona wants to do outside.
Yeah.
Of out of the wrestling company on his own that I think would run into issues with WWE, and I think that's probably one of the main hurdles that is preventing him from going back there. One, he wants to go back as Matt Cardona, not Zack Ryder, and two, he's got the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. He's got all of his wrestling figure lines and everything that he does outside of WWE, and I think those type of things would be a conflict of interest that I think WWE would end up having a problem with. AEW wouldn't have a problem with any of it, and that's why they're kind of the perfect fit, in my opinion. So I'm hoping he gets signed, and I'm hoping that the crowd response at the Hammerstein on Friday is not enough to dissuade Tony from signing him, because it was Tony's creative booking heading into this match that let people know that there was no way Jericho was losing. So it's kind of on Tony in that form for the crowd response, and not really on Jericho or Cardona.
Yeah, after the match, the Learning Tree continues to beat down on Cardona when Bandito makes his return to the company, only to injure himself on a concussion, jumping, doing a drop kick from the top rope.
Yeah, this killed the crowd too.
Yeah,
because he got a good pop coming out, and then he did the drop kick and he landed on his head, on the back of his head, and got the concussion. And everybody's just standing around, waiting for him to do his stuff, but he couldn't do his stuff, so the crowd was just and it was just like it went over like a fart in church. And I felt so bad for Bandito, who's been out Bandito's been out for a year and a half. Like Bandito's last match with AEW was an AEW Rampage taping last June, and I remember that because I was there. It took place in DC last June. That's when he got injured. I believe it was against Inosuke Takeshita. And he finally gets to come back, and the first thing that happens to the poor guy is he gets a concussion. I hope to God it's not a serious one. I hope he'll be good to go in a couple of weeks, but you never know with concussions. They can range from minor to extremely serious. So I'm hoping this was on the lesser end for him. I hope he's okay. But because that's just the worst luck in the world, man.
Yeah, I don't know if he's
really
had a
freaking
history.
Sucks.
I don't know if he's had a history of concussions or not. I don't think he has.
I can't recall him having a history, but just because it hasn't been reported doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
Yeah, as soon as he hit that drop kick, Bandito didn't know if he wanted to shit or wind his watch, because he was just standing there and everybody's just standing there, and it was
it was bad, dude.
Yeah, you could hear one of the refs whisper that he's hurt. Yeah. Now he didn't really shockmaster himself. He was just a standard. He didn't trip on a 2x4 on the ground. He just did a standard drop kick off the top rope, but landed.
It happens.
He hadn't done one in 18 months.
The thing is, the most basic of bumps can lead to the most serious of injuries. And
he was probably too juiced because he hadn't been in action for so long, and so he was too juiced and overexerted himself, and then knocked himself loopy, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So the Women's World Championship was the final match, Athena and Billy Starks, which let us think maybe we're going to end the night with the 20-year-old getting the title finally. No, after 25 and a half minutes, though it was a great match, Athena retains. And thanks to the exposed middle turnbuckle, Billy dropping into that and Athena hitting her finisher. Jericho, there's kind of a clear picture, sort of. We got Samoa Joe possibly returning. We also
I hope so. Like, for the love of God, as far as I know, Twisted Metal's done filming. Where is my Samoa Joe? Bring that man back to TV.
We're building, Jay Lethal's being built back up on Ring of Honor, so he also could be a viable person to take that off of a big bill if he turns on Jericho as another very viable world champion. There's a lot of viable world champions on the men's side. On the women's side, Athena's beat them all.
Yeah.
What do we do? What the hell? What does she just retire the championship and go to AEW? Or
that's the worst thing they could do.
I know.
Her relinquish the title and jump to AEW. I don't care what Tony Khan's reasoning was for this. This was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And I know Athena's going to Wrestle Dynasty, representing Ring of Honor. And I'm sure in Tony Khan's mind, it made sense for her to walk into the Tokyo Dome with the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship around her waist. But for that moment to ruin a year plus of storyline building that should have culminated on Final Battle on Friday, this was a terrible decision by Tony.
Steven thinks he's going to go another year.
Well, 2025, that could be at any point next year. Yeah. So, like, he didn't say Final Battle 2025, and it damn well better not be.
Put Serena Deeb in Ring of Honor. That wouldn't be too bad.
I still think Billy Starks is going to be the one to take it from her. Yeah. But by the time they do it, I'm questioning how many people will care.
Well, I
think they jumped the shark on Friday night, and I think by the time they finally pull the trigger on it, the response is not going to be what they were looking for it to be because they waited too long to do it.
Well, it wasn't like she really cheated to win. She held onto the turnbuckle pad that came loose and just used that as, it wasn't like she really cheated to win. She used what was put in front of her. So it's not like Billy Starks really has a a grievance or a reason to get a rematch in this case. So that now you got to really wonder what direction they go to in the women's title picture. Is it going to be Billy eventually? How the hell do you do it? Or is it somebody else? Do you bring somebody else in? Is there a free agent? Not that I know of, but is there, somebody they could bring in?
I mean, Megan Bane's still out there, but
Indy Hartwell, maybe. I almost have this weird feeling WWE is going to sign Indy Hartwell back. I just have this weird feeling.
I feel like Mercedes wants her in AEW, and that's where she's going to end up.
That would be all right too, as long as she ends up somewhere, because she deserves to be somewhere.
Yeah, I think Mercedes is going to make sure she lands in AEW.
Overall, damn good Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I am happy that I subscribed.
It was much better than I expected it to be.
It's like, will I keep my subscription? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Matt, you said it yourself. The weekly product has not really been good.
It's not good. It's really not. That's why I'm hoping. That's why I'm really hoping they get the TV deal. Because if they get the TV deal, they'll have no choice but to make the weekly 1 hour product a good television show, and they won't be able to pull this AEW Dark on Ring of Honor bullshit anymore. So we'll see what happens in 2025. Hoping for the best, but I think Tony's going back to the well with, oh, Jericho is champion means television deal. I just don't think it means Jericho is champion right now means nearly as much as it meant 5 years ago. And the only saving grace he has on this is he's probably dealing with a bunch of television executives who know of big star WWE Chris Jericho, and they don't probably watch the wrestling product. So they're probably like, oh, Chris Jericho, we know that name, blah, 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 type of deal, instead of knowing that, a majority of the fan base is just like, can you please get Chris Jericho off our TV for a few months?
Exactly. So Athena now going to represent Ring of Honor in the 4-way match. Willow Nightingale representing AEW. Then we got some representation from CMLL and Stardom as well. That's going to also see the in-ring return of Kenny Omega against Gabe Kidd. Umino and Claudio are going to face each other. Mercedes Monet and Mina Shirakawa. Winner takes all for the Strong Women and Undisputed British Women's Championship. Who do you think takes that? Do you think Mina wins that one?
I'm kind of inclined to think she does.
Yeah.
I'm kind of inclined to think she does.
After Dustin and Sammy retain their Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, the House of Torture show and Kanemaru challenged them to the Ring of Honor Tag Team title match. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet sure as hell ain't going to suck. So lots of good stuff.
I would argue Wrestle Dynasty looks like a much better card than Wrestle Kingdom. And that's kind of, I don't know if that's the type of precedent you want to set, but I've looked across the card for both nights, and if I could only stay up for one of them, I would most definitely only stay up for Wrestle Dynasty and leave Wrestle Kingdom in the rearview mirror. Like, it's to me personally, Wrestle Kingdom is not a card that I look at this year and go, oh my God, I need to see that. Like it has been in years past.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to watch Wrestle Dynasty. I'm not sure I'm going to see Wrestle Kingdom. And if I do, it'll probably be like the following morning on demand on NJPW World or something, instead of watching it live like I have in the past.
Before we get to our other topic, let's see here in the chat. Any Stephen Chambers, any prediction where the ROH TV deal goes? Access TV, I hope not. I don't get that.
Zero chance that Tony Khan would take a deal with Access TV. He's looking for a big brand to land his company on. He's not going to settle for something like Access TV.
Let's move on to
honestly, Honor Club's probably in more homes in the United States than fucking Access TV is.
Well, on that note, let's move on to the other topic tonight. World's End. It is happening this Saturday in Orlando, Florida. The final pay-per-view of 2024. We got a loaded card of 8 matches already so far. I don't know if any more are going to get added or not, because Dynamite still has to kind of finish out the Continental Classic. Speaking
Yeah,
of
you got to
that,
keep in mind 3 of the matches are Continental Classic matches.
yeah,
Are you counting those?
yeah. So if you do not want to be spoiled on the Continental Classic, you will want to skip forward about a minute
Or
because
just mute your audio for a minute.
yeah.
We're
If
gonna
you're
do it.
live, you want, yeah. If you're live,
5,
mute your audio.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm
Mute.
sure most of the chat doesn't mind being muted, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of people
well, look,
lurking too.
I'm just saying, like, let's get on to it. Let's do a quick minute so they can unmute.
Semifinal number 1, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher, Matt.
I think it'll be exactly what I said weeks ago, that it will be Okada versus Will Ospreay in the finals.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see Ricochet beating Okada.
I think that would be a terrible decision.
Ospreay's been on a losing streak lately. Obviously, he wins on Wednesday to get this spot. So, yeah, Ospreay versus Okada, and then so that puts it into the finals. I would have Ospreay be the new Continental Champion.
I would too, especially after having him lose twice last week,
Yeah.
which I thought was one of the dumbest things AEW has done in a long time.
They
Look,
wanted drama.
I know Ospreay's more than willing to lose to anybody and everyone, but you need, as a company, you need to protect your future investment as the centerpiece of your company. He can't be taking loss after loss after loss on television. It kills his star power. And you would never see Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns doing that on the other side in WWE. You need to be careful about when Will Ospreay is going to take a loss. And doing back-to-back losses last week, to me, was inexcusable.
TBS Championship on the line. This just got put together on Saturday, or this past week. Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander. You know, all along I thought Camille was going to take it off of Monet, but now Camille's AEW status seems to be up in the air.
What do you mean?
I thought Camille's, I don't know, I've just seen things about her status being up in the air. So I don't know if, is that not true? Okay.
No, I think she's out with an injury.
Okay.
And you remember
I don't
she was wearing a sling in those final weeks before she got fired or quit from Mercedes.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was just a playoff.
I think she's just off tending to an injury for the time
Oh,
being.
I thought that was just a playoff Statlander hitting her with the car.
I don't think so. I think
I could have sworn
I think she had some kind of injury.
I could have sworn Camille made some comments and stuff that made people wonder about her status with AEW, but
As far as I have not heard of any of that.
okay. But yeah, I don't see Statlander taking it. Though it appears Statlander and Willow Nightingale may be mending fences if you watched Collision on Saturday. So
I don't know why they go back to this if Statlander's not winning. So I'm gonna say Statlander wins the title.
I'm gonna stick with Monet on that one. Especially if Camille's still around.
Honestly, I'm good with Mercedes winning, but just something tells me that to go back to this match so quickly makes me feel like there's going to be a title change. But we'll see. They let Jay White beat Heyman 2 pay-per-views in a row, so who knows?
I think Mercedes retains, but in the next match, I feel a title is a changing. For the AEW International Championship, Takeshita taking on Powerhouse Hobbs. I think we're going to put that first singles title. Well, no, has Hobbs won the TNT title?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not his first title, but I have a feeling Hobbs is beating Takeshita here in his final revenge
I think Hobbs
against the Callis family.
I think Hobbs in these tag matches against the Don Callis family in recent weeks, I don't think he's won any of them. So that to me tells me like you can't like let these things happen and then go to the pay-per-view and lose. So I agree with you. I think Powerhouse Hobbs leaves World's End with the International Championship.
Tijuana Street Fight for the AEW Women's World Title, Mariah May, Thunder Rosa. I think I know where we're heading with Mariah May maybe losing the belt, and it's not going to be Thunder Rosa. I think it's going to be It's going to be Tony Storm probably.
Yeah, at Grand Slam in Australia in February.
How about the interview with RJ City?
She's doing tremendous work, man.
Yeah, the amnesia,
tremendous work.
the amnesia with Tony Storm has just been hilarious. For the Diamond Ring, MJF, Adam Cole, baby. My thoughts were what Steven had said earlier were exactly what my thoughts were going to be. Undisputed Kingdom turns on Cole. MJF retains his Diamond Ring. I just don't see a world without MJF holding that ring, honestly.
I think Cole needs this win desperately. And I think all momentum he'll have going into 2025 will fall off a cliff if he loses this match. So to me, this is a must win for Adam Cole. To me, Cole has to win this match. So I can obviously see them letting MJF win because MJF doesn't lose very often, but Cole has not felt hot at all since he's been back, and it's a damn shame, guys. I love Adam Cole. He needs something, man. He needs something, and if you have him lose to MJF on Saturday, I don't know what you do with Adam Cole going into 2025. I don't want to see him fucking feuding with Taven Bennett and O'Reilly and shit. Like, he's done all this before. I want to see new stuff for Adam Cole. Like, I don't want to see them retread the same path that he's done a million times in every other company. Please, for the love of God, let Cole beat MJF on Saturday.
And your main event, fatal four-way.
But Steven Chambers says Kyle O'Reilly's the biggest wild. To me, Kyle O'Reilly's a bigger wild card than Taven and Bennett. Like, if Cole loses this match, I think it will be because of Kyle. I don't think it'll be because of Taven and Bennett.
Yeah, that's possible. And your main event of the evening is Fatal 4-Way. Jon Moxley taking on Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Jay White. Matt, what are your thoughts on that one?
I would prefer anyone other than Moxley to leave World's End with that title, which means Moxley's going to retain. So I'm not looking forward to this at all. I'm burnt out on the Death Rider stick already. I want it to be done. I want it to be over with. I think it's an anchor on AEW programming at the moment, and on it, I don't enjoy it at all. So yeah, I would take any of the three, which means Moxley will end up retaining. So
yeah, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying all along. I think Mox retains. I think the guy to take it off of him is going to be Darby, and then Christian's going to be right there to cash in. I think
which is another terrible mistake.
I think that's going to be the plan. It'd be interesting if Jack Perry joins the Death Riders. It's like, oh, then,
There is enough, and Christian Cage has enough enemies, in my opinion, that there should be someone to thwart his cash in when he does it. Whether it's Copeland, whether it's Hook,
Sting?
Whether it's long-term Kip Sabian's been playing him the entire time.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like, there should be there's enough factors playing against Christian Cage right now that when his cash-in time comes, that he should be thwarted by somebody else, which would lead to Cage's next program.
Because Cage could be sitting in the ring with that contract, and fucking Sting's music hits. After he's already cashed, but he waits till it's cashed in before the music hits, and then he saves Darby.
To me, screwing Darby in that fashion after dealing with months of this god awful Death Rider Moxley reign, will turn a lot. It's gonna turn a lot of their fan base off, and people have been warning Tony Khan about this for months now. Like, do not put the title on Darby out and immediately have Christian Cage tag in. And I know Tony Khan's online a lot. Like, there's no way he has not seen this feedback. Yeah. I would like to think he's smart enough to know and understand that when they are ready to take the title off Moxley, the answer is not Darby Allin or whatever wrestler for 3 minutes and then an immediate shift over to Christian Cage. That's not the route to take, and I think it would kill a lot of AEW's goodwill in 2025 if they make that move.
Looking forward to Dynamite this Wednesday. If you did not catch the spoilers, we're going to have Darby Allin and Ricochet, Will Ospreay versus Brody King, Shelton Benjamin versus Kazuchika Okada, Daniel Garcia versus Kyle Fletcher. A very Continental Classic heavy show for Christmas Day Dynamite. Monday Night Raw kicking off here in just a few minutes. Drew McIntyre is going to speak. Io Sky, Natalya, and Alba Fire in the IC title tournament. They're going to show highlights from the press conference. If you've not seen Kevin Owens' hijinks inside Stamford, Connecticut, check those out. Very hilarious.
Classic.
Tozawa takes on Gable, Priest, and Mysterio. Dexter Lumis and Miz. The New Day cutting a promo. And Sami Zayn taking on Drew McIntyre again for some reason.
Bring up MK's thing real quick.
Let's see here. MK says in the chat, if Darby isn't going to climb Mount Everest, I'd agree with Matt, but since he is, we have to wait until he returns in July.
See,
when did Cage win that contract?
Well, they've never said it's like Money in the Bank. Like they've never said
I thought they said it was a year.
It expires in a year.
I thought they did.
But he wanted it all in. He wanted it all in August. So, I mean, it's not like it's anytime soon. But for the love of God and all that is holy, I cannot take another 7 months of this Jon Moxley title reign in 2025. I can't fucking take it. Don't.
See, I like the Death Riders. I don't know what I don't see what you have against them.
It sucks. It sucks. That's the story sucks. It doesn't make any sense. Moxley's talking out of both sides of his mouth. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, there's no logic, rhyme, or reason for this, because every time this storyline starts to go in one direction, they shift it into another one. My problem with this Jon Moxley's Death Rider storyline is it doesn't make any fucking sense. And I want my professional wrestling to make sense, be it WWE, AEW, or MLW, or TNA, or wherever. When you're telling stories, the stories need to make sense. And right now, the Moxley story doesn't make any fucking sense. So, MK, I'm fine with that.
Jay White.
Let Jay White take the title from Moxley in Australia. I'm good with that.
I said it on this show a month or two ago. I said Jay White's getting the push.
And honestly, Jay White is somebody that they could do the Cage cash in on. And I don't think it would be as bad as doing it to Darby.
Well, Cage could be doing it thinking the Guns are still hurt, and maybe the Guns save Jay White, or the Guns turn on him and join the patriarchy.
No,
There's two ways.
Oh my God, I don't want that at all.
No, I my guess would be, if that happens, my guess would be Christian cashes in thinking the Guns are still hurt, or then out of nowhere they come and save Jay White. That could be a play there too. I
will say real quick, I think Darby Allin winning the title at All in Texas makes all the sense in the world, especially with we know that Sting's going to be there. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't want it to be against Jon Moxley, because I cannot take another 7 months of this Death Rider storyline unless they pick a direction and stick with it and start allowing things to make sense. Like, we can't go there. And
when does
somebody
he leave?
in the chat remind me next week about the Jon Moxley Death Rider story, and I will make sure in the show, and we have ample time, I will explain why this storyline doesn't make any fucking sense.
When does he leave for the Everest thing?
Apparently late March. So he'll probably be gone for 2 to 3 months. Well,
we are at our usual montage of people walking backstage. That means Monday Night Raw is upon us. Raw is backstage. Oh, they're just following Drew all the way to Gorilla because he's going to cut a promo to open up Raw. Have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully get everything you wish for. For Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. We'll be back next week.